In a world of noise, she whispers secrets only the heart can hear. Lelia of the Valley, the new album from the Schaefer Media Project, featuring the vocals of Lelia Kisil.
In halls where torchlights clouded burn, the banquet splendor held its stir.
Where the music lingers like smoke in a midnight lounge.
The ticking clock would skip and bend, my heart would thought and never end.
Lelia of the Valley, available February 27th. Let her voice carry you away.
Lay thy bow of pearl apart, and the crystal shine and quiver.
Lord of the Flies by William Golding. The tropical sun beat down on the coral reef as a fair-haired boy named Ralph clambered down from the rocks toward the shimmering lagoon. The plane had crashed somewhere in the thick jungle behind him, tearing through the foliage during what must have been a wartime evacuation. No adults had survived. The pilot was gone, and the boys were scattered across the island. Ralph felt the warm sand under his feet and the thrill of freedom. No school, no parents, just this paradise. A voice called out from the undergrowth. Wait! It belonged to a stout boy with thick spectacles, struggling through the vines. He introduced himself as Piggy, though he begged Ralph not to use the nickname others had given him. Piggy spoke quickly, nervously, explaining the crash and how the tube, carrying the smaller boys, had been flung away. Ralph listened half-heartedly, more interested in the lagoon's inviting water. Piggy spotted something gleaming in the shallows, a large pink conch shell. He urged Ralph to blow it like a trumpet to call the others. Ralph lifted the shell to his lips and blew. A deep, booming note rolled across the island. Soon boys began emerging from the jungle, lit luns clutching at one another, older ones striding confidently. Among them came a group in black choir robes led by a tall, red-haired boy named Jack Merridew. His face was painted with fierce authority, and he carried a knife. The boys gathered on the platform by the lagoon. Ralph, holding the conch, called for order. They needed a leader. Jack immediately nominated himself, but the boys voted for Ralph. His calm demeanor and the conch's magic won them over. To placate Jack, Ralph named him leader of the hunters, responsible for providing meat. Ralph, Jack, and a quiet, dark-haired boy named Simon set off to explore the island. They climbed the mountain, pushed a boulder crashing down for the sheer joy of it, and confirmed no one else was there. No adults, no rescue yet. They returned triumphant, already planning. At the next assembly, Ralph laid down rules. The conch would grant the right to speak. Whoever held it had the floor. They would build shelters, keep a signal fire alight on the mountain to attract ships, and use the lit lun's fear of a snake thing as motivation to stay vigilant. The fire was lit that day, but maintaining it proved harder than expected. Days blurred. Ralph and Piggy worked tirelessly on shelters while most boys played or swam. Jack obsessed over hunting. His choir boys now hunters in face paint. The signal fire went out just as a ship passed on the horizon. Ralph raged. Jack returned triumphant with his first pig, bloodied and proud. The hunters reenacted the kill in a wild dance, chanting. Ralph accused Jack of neglecting duty. The rift widened. The lit luns whispered of a beast. A small boy with a mark on his face spoke of a snake thing in the trees. Fear spread like fever. Simon, intuitive and solitary, suggested the beast might be inside them. No one listened. One night, a dead parachutist drifted down from the sky, tangled in his chute on the mountain. The twins, Sam and Eric, on fire duty, saw the figure in the wind and fled in terror, babbling of a beast with claws. The assembly dissolved into panic. Jack seized the moment, declaring the conch irrelevant and challenging Ralph's leadership. Most boys drifted toward him, drawn by the promise of meat and excitement. Jack's tribe grew. They painted their faces, hunted with spears, and killed a sow in a frenzied ritual. They stuck its head on a sharpened stick as an offering to the beast. The lure of the flies, buzzing with flies in the glade. Simon, hidden nearby, witnessed a horror and understood. The beast was no monster, but the darkness within them all. Simon climbed the mountain alone to confront the truth. He found a parachutist, released a body from his lines, and watched it sail out to sea. Exhausted, he staggered down to the beach where Jack's tribe feasted. The boys, drunk on pig and dance, saw Simon's shadowy figure emerge in the storm-lashed jungle. In their frenzy, mistaking him for the beast, they fell upon him with sticks in hands and teeth. Simon's cries were lost in the thunder. His body was carried out to sea by the waves. Ralph and Piggy, isolated now, clung to the last shreds of order. Piggy insisted they confront Jack at his new camp on Castle Rock. They went conch in hand, demanding Piggy's stolen glasses. The firelighters Jack's tribe had raided. The confrontation turned deadly. Roger, Jack's sadistic lieutenant, levered a massive boulder from above. It struck Piggy, shattering the conch and sending his body tumbling into the sea below. The tribe howled in triumph. Ralph fled, wounded by a spear, hiding in the undergrowth. Jack ordered the hunt for Ralph. They set the island ablaze to smoke him out. Flames roared through the trees. Ralph ran, terrified, crashing through the jungle until he burst onto the beach. There, standing in white naval uniform, was a British officer. Behind him, a cutter from a warship lay offshore. The boys' fire had finally been seen, not as a signal of hope, but as a desperate inferno. The officer looked at the painted, spear-carrying savages, at Ralph sobbing on the sand. "Fun and games," he said dryly. Ralph wept for the end of innocence, for the darkness in man's heart, for Piggy and Simon, and the conch that had once meant order. The other boys, realizing rescue had come, stood awkwardly, the pain on their faces streaking in the sudden awareness of civilization's return. Jack, the Hunter King, said nothing. The officer turned away, embarrassed by the spectacle of children who had descended so far. Ralph cried on the beach, the weight of what they had become crushing him. The naval officer waited, the cutter's engines idling as the island burned behind them. A funeral pyre for the brief, terrible experiment in savagery.